I am Purple Rain.
I am Iron Maven.
Welcome to the 2025 Roller Derby World Cup, hosted by the fearless Bruisers in Innsbruck, Austria. This is game 53 on day 3 on the In the House of the Bruisers track, aka track 5. This game is Team Australia in green versus Team Philippines in the white. We have about 16 seconds according to the scoreboard until a derby.
So this is one of our first matchups of teams with 2 win points so far this tournament.
Yes.
Both teams had some pretty big wins so far.
Australia taking wins over Salam Roller Derby and New Zealand, and the Philippines winning over, I believe it was Latvia and Korea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So lining, after you.
Getting ready for Jam 1 now. We have, I actually can't see.
I believe that is 3-2 Jambi for Australia, lead jammer, and 8-8 for the Kismaya Squater. That is 4 points on the board for Team Australia.
And Philippines down to 3 blockers as we have one sitting in the Sisu mouthguard penalty box. Jambi coming round for another scoring trip.
Kismaya Squater has gone to the penalty box, I believe, for a cut track, so this is now a power jam for Team Australia.
So penalties being something that could well come into play during this game. Australia so far have played very clean games. They are 45 out of 48 teams in terms of penalties, only about 23 per game. Philippines, 28.5 penalties per game.
Jambi through for another 4 points. So far we're on a 16-point jam for Australia.
Kismaya Squater back out of the box and right in the pack up on this apex.
Kismaya Squater looks like not through for initial pass. Oh, that was a failed star pass to Charger, who is not wearing a pivot panty. A little bit confused as to what happened there.
Pivot cover being worn by Diamante Huse. Maybe a bit of confusion there.
Kismaya Squater has now completed initial pass, but Team Australia calls the jam after picking up 20 points.
Very comfortable first jam there for Australia.
That is Invader Scrim lining up on the WFTDI jam line for Jam 2 with Glam Cracker representing the Philippines here, but also considered a national treasure of Australia. That is Lethal from Team Australia, running back Glam Cracker on the outside of the track. Meanwhile, Invader Scrim is through for lead jammer for Australia.
But Glam Cracker finishing that initial trip and coming through to score. Jammer referee taking a little spin there. And Australia managing to get 2 points there before calling it, before Philippines are able to put any on the board.
I think we're going to see probably a lot of these quick shutdowns happening today.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is Sugars on the WFTDI jam line for Team Australia and Hawaii KO for the Philippines.
And that is lead jammer once again for Australia. Sugars out there just before turn 1. Hawaii KO now with the star in hand. Absolutely trapped against that very solid 3-wall from Australia.
Meanwhile, Sugars coming around for another 4 points for Australia. And another 4 points for Sugars. That is Sugars out once again. Hawaii KO still looking for an escape. And
I think we have a power jam. Sugars has gone to the box. So what can the Philippines do with this 30 seconds unopposed? Hawaii KO had a lovely clear path there, but unfortunately taken out right on that apex.
It is always an unfortunate situation to be in as a jammer. Looks like we have had a star pass on Team Philippines to Diamante Junze.
Sugars out of the box, pockets those 4 points and pulls the jam off before Diamante Junze able to leave the engagement zone.
That was a 16-point jam for Sugars, taking Team Australia to 38. Team Philippines still looking for those first points. So that 16-point jam was Sugar's biggest jam so far at this tournament. So speaking of big jams, currently on track for the Philippines is Smackbeth, who I believe at one point this tournament picked up a 32-point jam.
Yep, Smackbeth has had a 32 and a 28-point jam. So very highly scoring jammer.
And that is Pulp Friction jamming for Australia at the moment, very deep into that Philippines tripod.
And we have a lead jammer for Smackbeth. The crowd in the House of Bruisers is going absolutely wild for that.
So that's the first lead jam for the Philippines this game.
Yep. And this is the longest time it's taken the Australia jammer to get out for an initial trip as well. This wall holding incredibly strong.
Pulp Friction through for initial pass. Smackbeth calling the jam.
With 3 points for the Philippines. 3 unanswered points, in fact. So,
Philippines crowd getting quite rowdy in this stadium.
Absolutely.
Right now on the WFTDI jam line, we have Sugars for Australia, and that
Rice
is
Rocket for the Philippines.
Oh, Jambi, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Sugars gets to sit down after that last one.
Honestly, the two skaters I should know best, so I'm messing up. Anyway, Jambi's through for lead.
Rice Rocket has taken off this star.
Jambi, meanwhile, through for 4 points for Team Australia. And that is another 4 points picked up by Jambi.
And that is a forearms penalty for Jambi. So we have another power jam for the Philippines.
So this will be our second 2-minute jam so far this half.
And we have had a star pass. That is
101
out on initial with the star. Slightly confusingly, 101 has Tree on their shirt, but Aluyan on the roster. So forgive us if we mix up the names.
That pack is speeding up. Jambi is back from the penalty box. getting knocked out by Illuvian, I think that was.
I think so. One of the benefits of a pivot turn jammer is that they do tend to have quite good defensive awareness as well.
Jambi doing some fancy footwork to stay in bounds.
And that is the 2 minutes complete.
2 points picked up there by Team Philippines, taking them to 5. Team Australia picking up 12, taking them to 50 points.
And we have Invader Scrim lining up on the WFTDI jam line.
And Kiss My Esquator for Team Philippines. All right, there is a lot of whistles happening. Invader Scrim picking up lead jammer for Team Australia. The Rage headed to the penalty box for Team Australia.
Philippines pivot looking for the star pass, and there it is.
That is 4-1-5. Champagne. But that is a jam called with another 4 points picked up by Australia.
But great pressure from the Philippines to force that call.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep it just down to 4 points.
We have Booger jamming for the first time this game for Team Australia up against Glam Cracker on the WFTDI pivot line.
And that is a direction penalty for 2-1. So Australia now 2 blockers in the box. Can Philippines capitalise on this pack advantage?
Got to tell you though, if you did only have 2 blockers out there, Bad Wolf and Barry are a pair you would want to have as your 2. That's some strong defense being put down there by Diamante, Junze and Gonzalez, but Booger finds a way out of the pack to pick up lead jammer for Team Australia. And that is 4 points picked up by Booger.
Yeah, Booger taking advantage of that no pack call to slide out at the front there. Very good awareness.
And we have a Philippines team timeout, I believe. And our team timeouts are brought to you by Crash Course. Crash Course helps busy roller derby athletes increase strength, endurance and agility, conquer self-doubt and create the habits of high performers to become all-stars and MVPs on the track and in life. Want to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Visit ChrissyCrash.com to download the free Off Skates Roller Derby training series. Life is a contact sport. Win. So some fun stats that have come our way from our producer. Australia has so far gotten a lead jam 6 out of 7 jams, though there was 2 there with a lead loss due to penalties. Of course, Smackbeth with the 1 Philippines lead jam.
And we have Sugars lining up again on the WFTDI jam line for Australia and Hawaii KO for the Philippines. Philippines appear to have only 1 blocker on track. We have a very busy Sisu mouthguard penalty box. So Hawaii KO taking up a very defensive position. But not surprisingly, that is lead jammer for Sugars. Only 1 blocker to beat. It's a position every jammer wants to be in.
But we have some Team Philippines representation. Kili on the way back on track from the bin. The penalty box, I should say, rather.
Meanwhile, Hawaii KO bouncing around on toe stops to try and beat those Australia blockers.
We have 4 points so far picked up by Sugars.
And Hawaii KO star in hand. Looking for that power jam, and that was beautifully completed to Diamante Hunsai. But the jam is called before they are able to put any points on the board.
But again, we're seeing some great pressure applied by the Philippines to Australia.
Yeah.
Forcing those call-offs.
And this next jam will see a very slight pack advantage. No, it won't. It's going to be 3 versus 3. Both teams have got one blocker in the CC mouthguard penalty box.
Meanwhile, on the WFTDI Jammer line, we have Jambi for Team Australia and Smack Beth for Team Philippines. Jambi headed to the penalty box for a forearm.
So this is the third power jam for the Philippines.
Smack Beth is still looking for an initial pass.
Philippines going in for some coordinated offense there, managing to open up some space.
That was some great solo offense by Pasqua as well, just really trying to break up that Team Australia wall.
But the reformation here is incredible. Australia come back together. Smackbeth pushing out the front of the engagement zone, and we have Sugars back on track.
That pack is getting long. You're doing it too now, it's Jambi. And Jambi has completed initial pass. Okay. So Smackbeth is actually the highest point scorer for the Philippines, averaging 19.83 points a jam. We have 4 points picked up by Jambi for Team Australia. And that is another 4 points for Jambi. Team Philippines still putting up some strong offense, trying to get Smackbeth out of that pack.
Oh, lovely footwork there on the outside line by Jambi.
Very twirly.
Bambi-esque, you might say.
So I don't remember the full story, but Jambi's name actually has nothing to do with Bambi.
Really? Okay.
It's just a fun coincidence.
And that is a 13-point jam for Australia, with Philippines unable to complete an initial trip.
So Australia currently sitting on 81 to the Philippines on 5. We're about halfway through this first half.
And we have Rice Rocket lining up on the WFTDI jam line for the Philippines.
And that is Pulp Friction for Team Australia.
Full complement of blockers for both teams, so looking very busy.
And Pulp Friction is out for lead jammer.
Rice Rocket showing incredible strength to push out the last two Australian blockers there. Now one-on-one with Lethal, and makes it out to complete that initial trip. Lethal picking up an out-of-play block penalty there.
So it looks like just 2 Team Australia blockers out there currently. That was Larage and Brooke Stubbs, but new jam, new day. It looks like we have Kismay Esqueta on the WFTDI jam line for Team Philippines, and that is Booger for Team Australia.
1 blocker for the Philippines in the box and 2 for Australia, so 3 plays 2 in the pack. Booger making light work of that and getting out for lead. Lovely footwork on the outside there for Kismay Esqueta. Completes initial trip.
Booger picks up the points and calls the jam. 3 points there picked up by Team Australia, taking them to 87. Philippines on 5.
opts to protect the points rather than play the jam and get another blocker out of the box there. So Australia, it seems, really trying to keep that differential as wide as they can.
But I guess they did get one out, and Team Philippines also have a blocker remaining in the penalty box. So it's not quite even in terms of pack numbers.
Yeah, so we have Hawaii KO lining up now, and Jambi for Team Australia. Two incredibly strong tripods here, and we have both blockers coming back from the penalty box at the same time.
Though Team Philippines have since lost their pivot. And Jambi is out for lead jammer for Australia.
Some lovely offense there from Lethal from Australia.
So 8-0, Hawaii KO holding the jammer star, but the pivot is currently in the penalty box. So more of a diversion, I guess, than
absolutely, but what a beautiful star pass. Diamante Hunse coming out of the penalty box, grabbing that star, flying through the pack for an initial trip.
That was a great stealthy star pass.
Absolutely beautiful. Just the awareness from your jammer and pivot to know to pull that off without any opportunity to communicate. Very well practiced.
We have Invader Scrim on the WFTDI jam line for Team Australia, and that is, of course, Glam Cracker for Team Philippines. And that is lead jammer to Invader Scrim.
And another star pass for Team Philippines.
That is Champagne.
Shouts from the bench to pull that jam off, but Invader Scrim was determined to get that 4th point first and still managed to call it before Philippines were able to score any points.
And succeeded in getting the 4th point.
Absolutely.
So we're heading into the final 10 minutes of this first half. So Invader Scrim has so far had a perfect track record on picking up lead jammer, 3 for 3.
And we have Pulp Friction for Australia lining up against Smack Beth. Two really dense walls here.
It's close to becoming an 8-pack at this point.
I mean, it's a great strategy if you can use the opposing team to block their jammer.
A lot of crowding.
Absolutely.
But Pulp Friction is out for lead jammer for Team Australia. Meanwhile, Smack Beth getting recycled by Lethal. And that is 4 points for Pulp Friction.
And Australia have a 4-2 pack advantage here.
That was a great hit by Diamante Hunse, though.
And did manage to draw a cut track there on Invader Scrim. Not to the inside. Thought that they'd stayed in, carried on.
Pulp Friction.
Sorry, Pulp Friction.
And this will be a 2-minute jam.
And I believe we are on the 4th power jam now for the Philippines.
I believe so.
That's a lot of jammer penalties for Australia.
But Australia's defense has also just been so strong that they have not been giving away many opportunities at all for the Team Philippines jammers to capitalize on that. But Pulp Friction is back on track.
And another great penalty kill there from Australia. Smack Beth still trapped in that pack. Oh, lovely edge work there from Smack Beth to come back on track. Weave all the way around the back of the pack.
Unfortunately, that jam just timing out at that moment. Okay, we have Sugars on the WFTDI jam line up against Rice Rocket for Team Philippines.
Looks like the Sisu mouse guard penalty box is empty, so we have 2 full walls, and of course the moment I said that, a direction call was made there.
That happens to me every time. It's like an announcer's curse. You just jinx skaters every time you mention.
That does mean that Philippines have the benefit of an additional blocker to do some offense, which at the moment is Champagne. But again, really tight pack.
We have lead a jammer to Sugars for Team Australia.
And a beautiful bit of toe stop work on the apex there from Rice Rocket with star in hand to get out for the initial trip.
That pack is going quite fast at the moment.
Sugars opting to run a little bit longer there just to get their blocker out of the box.
I believe that's the first 0-0 jam we have seen so far this game.
Yes, we are getting the nod there from our producer. So next up we have Booger with the star for Australia up against Kismay Esqueta for Philippines. Some amazing full body blocking there from Crush.
It was very, look mum, no hands.
Yep.
All right, lead jammer is Booger. Looks like we have a Philippines blocker headed to the bin for a multiplayer block. And 4 points picked up by Booger. Kismay Esqueta getting by that last line of defense by Easy to complete an initial pass, but Booger calls the jam.
Booger looking a little bit apologetic there. I think would have probably run it a bit longer once again to try and empty the penalty box. But
these
again,
strategic-minded benchies, they're just...
Yep. But we have 3 versus 3 in the pack, so... Oh no, 3 versus 2. Philippines have 2 blockers in the box, including their pivot.
Meanwhile, on the WFTDI jammer line, we have Glamcracker up against Jambi for Team Australia. And Jambi is out for lead. Jambi making it look quite easy. The Australian blockers just clearing that inside line while also holding back Glamcracker.
Yep, half a lane more than enough for Jambi there on the inside.
I thought Glamcracker was free, but then that last line of Australian defense just came in. But Glamcracker has now completed initial pass. That is another 4 points for Team Australia, taking that jam to 12 points. Australia on 127 to the Philippines on 5. Invader Scroom lining up on the jammer line for Team Australia, and that is Hawaii KO going for a bit of a run-up by the looks for Team Philippines. Goes wild. That is lead jammer to the Philippines, Hawaii KO.
And coming round on a scoring trip now.
Invader Scrim still looking for that initial pass.
And being recycled all the way back to the WFTDI jammer line.
And that is 4 points for the Philippines.
Hawaii KO really bigging up the crowd there, loving the noise in this venue.
Invader Scrim has completed initial pass. And that is another 4 points from Hawaii KO.
Hawaii KO definitely aware there of Invader Scrim coming into the back of the pack, but opting not to call the jam.
That is the biggest jam so far for Team Philippines, but there's definitely points picked up by Australia there. 4 points for Invader Scrim.
I think Hawaii KO thinks that they may well have more in the tank here. Calls the jam with another 2 points. That is 10 points for Team Philippines, tripling their score.
A very elegant floor call off there.
That was the Philippines' first lead jammer in 14 jams, and boy did they capitalise.
So in potentially our last jam for this first half, we have Sugars out on the WFTDI jammer line for Team Australia, and that is Smack Beth for Team Philippines.
Smack Beth has had a really tough time with these walls so far this half, and there's no change now.
And Sugars is out for lead jammer.
That gives Philippines a chance to come in and do some offense. But unfortunately, that distraction means that Sugars was able to sail through there for 4 points. Smackbeth jumping around lanes 1 to 4, trying to find a gap.
That is such a solid Australian wall.
Sadly has cut the track, so Smackbeth going for a sit in the penalty box. I believe that is the first power jam for Australia this half, and they've opted to call it, and that will not be the last jam of the half. I was wondering if Australia were choosing to start their second half with a power start, but instead they opted for one more jam.
A team timeout. And our team timeouts are, of course, sponsored by Crash Course. Crash Course helps busy roller derby athletes increase strength, endurance and agility, conquer self-doubt and create the habits of high performers to become all-stars and MVPs on the track and in life. Want a custom training plan with accountability, skill and footage reviews, nutrition strategies and athlete mindset development created by our knowledgeable team of coaches so you can level up this year? Visit cruisycrash.com to apply now. Life is a contact sport. Win.
Team Philippines really getting the crowd excited here. I think they are riding such a high after that 10-point jam. So, Jambi lining up on the WFTDI jam line for Australia and will be unopposed for probably about 20 seconds.
With Smackbeth, of course, remaining in the penalty box from the previous jam. The Sisu Mouthguards penalty box, if you will.
We have 4 blockers from each team. So an equal amount of offense and defense, and Jambi does take that offense. Thank you very much, and gets out for lead jammer. Philippines blockers really making the effort to get to the front of the pack here. Lovely knockout to the outside there.
That is a big recycle on Jambi by Team Philippines.
I believe that was Kili Kili with the hit out and recycle all to the way to the other side of the apex.
Though Smackbeth also being forced to yield but to all but one of those Philippines blockers.
That is the trouble with the big recycle. But Smackbeth has made it out on the initial trip.
Meanwhile, 4 points for Jambi.
Jambi called the jam, but
2 points picked up by Smackbeth for Team Philippines.
And 6 points in total, just 2 on that final trip for Australia. So we have Australia on 145 and Philippines on 17.
And we are now at half-time. We will see you back here in about 15 minutes.
Hey, I'm Lauren Much, and I wear the S1 Lifer helmet with medium rad liners. I've always felt supported by S1. I always appreciate how they've adapted along as the sport has evolved. I trust the gear, and I love wearing S1 gear.
First rule of Sisu is, wearing a mouth guard is cool. Say the word. Sisu! Second rule of Sisu is, use a thin mouth guard, not a big old gummy one. Say the word. Sisu! Third rule, pick your Sisu style. Fourth rule, talk, breathe, drink, easily. Sisu, Sisu, Sisu! The final rule of Sisu is, unlike others, you've got up to 20 times to remold it. Who's got Sisu? Sisu!
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, everybody. We've got you covered.
The S1 Lifer helmet is one size fits all for head sizes 20.5 to 23.5 inches. With our color-coded sizing liner system, you can be confident that you'll be able to create a perfect fit with the S1 Lifer helmet. Not all head sizes are the same, so size flexibility is crucial when you're looking to buy a helmet. Standard sizing liners do not affect how the helmet disperses impact energy. So no matter what size you are, whether you're an extra small or a 3XL, you can be confident that the S1 Lifer helmet will meet and or exceed current helmet safety standards. If you have a small head or you have a really big head, don't worry, we have a helmet that will fit you too. Check out our Mini Lifer or our Mega Lifer helmet, which are our smaller and bigger helmet shell options. Remember, a great fit is crucial for safety. The S1 Lifer helmet, a better fitting, safer helmet.
Welcome back to the 2025 Roller Derby World Cup here on track 5 in the House of Bruisers. This is game 53 on day 3. And we are hosted by the fearless Bruisers in Innsbruck, Austria. We have got Team Australia playing in green and Team Philippines in white. Half-time score is Australia 145, Philippines 17. We had some sound issues at the start, so just going to run through the Philippines roster again. We have 00 Diamante Hunsay, 050 Buhisin, 101 Aluyan, 1012 Charger, 1369 Manuel, 2000 Rice Rocket, 21 Gonzalez, 222 Glam Cracker, 24 Smackbeth, 4 Pasqua, 415 Champagne, 618 Quidding, 8000 Kili Kili, 808 Hawaii KO, 88 Kiss My Esqueta. And on the bench we have Rose Villain, San Augustin, Ninja Filipina and Terrell. I am Iron Maven.
And I am Purple Rain. We did not go through the Team Australia bench earlier, but I think I can see Copter, Lumberzack, Doherty and Demandria over there. Taking this first jam for the second half on the WFTDI Jammer line, we have Pulp Friction for Australia up against Kiss My Esqueta for the Philippines.
Kiss My Esqueta being the Philippines' highest scoring jammer in the tournament so far. Philippines have had 2 big wins in their previous 2 games against Latvia and Korea. Kiss My Esqueta had racked up 231 points. Philippines having a much harder time in this game so far, but have scored more than half of their points in 1 jam.
We have Pulp Friction lead jammer for Team Australia. That was a great executed star pass there by Team Philippines to Diamante Hunsay.
We've seen some fantastic star passes from the Philippines, really well executed.
Pulp Friction is out for 4 points for Team Australia. That pack is absolutely flying at the moment.
Pulp Friction running as long as possible and succeeds in getting Tui Lion out of the box and calling the jam before Philippines are able to score any points there. Really good tactical play.
We have Invader Scrim on the WFTDI jam line now for Team Australia, and that is Glam Cracker for Team Philippines.
Some lovely friendly fist bumps there between the jammers.
You know, Glam Cracker, the way their track presence mildly terrifies me, but they are also the sweetest human. But Invader Scrim picking up a lead, a jammer for Team Australia. That is turning into an 8-pack in this moment. We've had a star pass. Team Philippines getting out. That is Champagne.
And we have a power jam for Philippines. I believe that was a forearm penalty for Invader Scrim. And this is the 4th power jam for the Philippines in this game. But so far, they've only managed to get 2 points in the 4 that they've had so far. Some coordinated offense coming in now for the Philippines to try and get Champagne out.
And of course, this will be a 2-minute jam. We have about 1 minute left of this jam.
And that is Invader Scrim returning from the penalty box. Philippines rearranging themselves into a defensive formation. Champagne looking for a gap there on the inside on turn 2, but the awareness from the Australia blockers is so good.
The Invader Scrim is through for 4 points for Team Australia. Looks like there has been a cut track given to, I believe that is a Team Philippines blocker. Invader Scrim with some fancy little hops to stay in bounds in that final pass, picking up a 12-point jam for Team Australia.
But that is 4 points on the board for Team Philippines.
On the scoreboard, we have Australia 161 to Philippines 21.
And we have Hawaii KO lining up in the WFTDI Jammer line up against Sugars.
The Jammers getting into it before the whistle even blew there, but Sugars is out for a very fast lead.
Hawaii KO immediately takes the star off, and Diamante Hunsei trying to find space, but back into a defensive position as Sugars.
That was a great hit out on Sugars there by Hawaii KO.
Yep, with the Jammer star in hand, took on some blocking duties.
Again, these packs are just getting so smushy. I'm not sure if that's
Technical
a word.
term. And that is the star pass complete for the Philippines to Diamante Hunsei.
But Sugars calls the jam. There was the 4 points picked up there.
Great pressure from the Philippines to keep Australia to just 4 points in that jam.
Speaking of the Philippines, I'd like to give a shout out to the Team Philippines benchies fits. The drip has been fantastic the last few days. All right, we have Smack Beth on the WFTDI Jammer line for Team Philippines, but that is Jambi out for Team Australia and picking up lead. Jambi is through for 4 points. Smack Beth stashing that star.
And a lovely hit out on the outside there from Buhisin, and recycles Jambi back.
Looks like the star pass has been completed for Team Philippines. That is Gonzalez, but also that looks like there's a penalty being called.
Yeah, they picked up a cut track. I believe that they thought that the initiator of the hit had gone down and therefore they could continue, but it seems that the officials disagreed.
So that'll be the second power jam that Team Philippines have given up?
Yeah, so the first power jam in the first half, Australia managed to score 8 points and again ended the jam with the Philippines jammer still in the box.
I guess there's kind of two different ways to think about that strategy. I mean, on the one hand, you've got to get initial pass again, but on the other hand, it's a fresh set of legs.
Yep, and you're giving yourself a better chance of taking control of the next jam.
Okay, we have Booger on the WFTDI jammer line for Team Australia.
And Gonzalez, of course, trapped in the penalty box. Oh, has just been released as the jammer for the Philippines.
Booger, meanwhile, picking up a lead jammer.
It is Charger wearing the pivot cover and has taken a star pass for the Philippines. So that is, I believe, the first star pass to Charger this
I believe
game.
so.
Really put on some speed there, but unfortunately not quick enough to get back to score some points on their next trip.
Star passes for the Philippines. Every jam they've passed the star.
So every jam this half, Philippines have completed a star pass.
On the WFTDI jammer line, we have Pulp Friction for Australia, and that is Rice Rocket, I believe, for Team Philippines. That was great work by Pasqua there to try and stop the run back on Larage.
Yeah, massive hit out on the inside.
Pulp Friction is through for lead jammer.
Rice Rocket inching that three wall from Australia forward, but now getting some offense from the Philippines. They're waiting for the right moment.
Meanwhile, another 4 points for Pulp Friction. Oh, that was a great run down the inside line there by Pulp Friction, picking up 4 points.
And more lovely footwork there from Pulp Friction.
Pulp Friction just making it look easy this jam. We assure you, it is not. Looks like there is a star on the ground that has been retrieved. Another 4 points for Pulp Friction.
Rice Rocket opting not to put the star back on as they are still on the initial pass, so no harm in having it in hand. And if the opportunity for a star pass arises to Champagne, I'm sure Rice Rocket will take it.
All right, that is another 4 points. This is turning into a big jam for Pulp Friction. We're at 20 points so far.
Pulp Friction's previous highest scoring jam was 19 points, so that has been beaten. And it is 22 points this jam for Pulp Friction.
Taking Australia to 207 points. Team Philippines on 21.
And we have Kiss My Asqueta and Jambi lining up on the WFTDI jammer line. The pack opting for a pivot line start. No, changing just before the whistle.
Australia is very good at the last minute run back. But after you.
That is lead jammer again for Jambi. And another star pass for the Philippines. Once again to Charger, who is going to put on that speed again and try to get some points.
But Australia calls the jam. 3 points picked up there by Team Australia.
Just heard the house stream pointing out the very pretty scoreline that we have at the moment. 2-1 plays 2-1-0.
It's always a satisfying scoreboard to look at. We have Invader Scrim are currently out as jammer for Team Australia and picking up lead, and that is a Glam Cracker jamming for Team Philippines.
And Invader Scrim coming round now on a scoring trip. doing a great job of breaking up the Philippines wall and dancing around the blockers one by one. And we have another star pass for the Philippines. And again, I think it is a brand new pivot. Oh no, it's Champagne. Excuse me, Champagne has taken many star passes so far this game. And we've got a bit of a race going on.
That was 4 points picked up by Invader's Groom, but deciding to call the jam as the pack was speeding up.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not worth it.
We have Sugars out on the WFTDI jammer line. Hawaii KO out for Team Philippines, going for a run-up again.
And again, Australia with that run back to the WFTDI jam line. Really lovely reformation at the front from Team Philippines to catch Sugars. Pack being stretched very long, and Sugars takes advantage.
Oh, that was a solid attempt at a hit there by Tui Lion on Hawaii KO, but Hawaii KO stays in bounds and gets through to complete initial pass.
And I believe we may have had a slightly late call off there, and Philippines managed to get the 2 points to Australia's 1 in that jam.
I enjoyed that little celebration there by Hawaii KO, acknowledging that they had 1 point, but when they found out it was 2.
Twice as good. I think we may have a little bit of feedback from Australia about the speed of that call off. I think Sugars was possibly trying to call for it a little bit sooner.
Right now we have Booger jamming for Team Australia. That is Smack Beth for Team Philippines. And that is Booger lead jammer for Team Australia. Lethal just making life very difficult for Macbeth at the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Booger through for 4 points for Team Australia.
And the Philippines once again looking for that star pass. Gonzalez was lined up at the front.
That is another 4 points picked up by Booger.
And there is that star pass
to Gonzalez. Booger almost coming to say hello to us at the announcer desk during that call off.
And a bit of discussion here between the jammer ref and the outside pack refs about how many points had been earned, and it is 2 on that final scoring trip. So 10 for Australia, taking them up to 225. Philippines on 23.
We are about halfway through this second half. This game has flown by.
Australia so far with 100% lead jammer status in the second half, and that is another one, this time for Jambi.
That is Kismay Escueta jamming for Team Philippines. And Kismay Escueta, unfortunately, headed to the penalty box.
Block, I believe, which can be a danger, particularly with these shorter jammers. If you go in head first, you can inadvertently block with your head, which is not allowed.
It's also a danger to yourself.
Exactly.
But Jambi through for another 4 points for Team Australia.
So Jambi coming through now for another scoring trip. Kismo Escueta is standing.
That was a fantastic pass there by Jambi with a little jump around the inside apex.
And it looks like Jambi bucking the trend here and allowing Kismo Escueta back on track in this jam. Huge hit there from Kismo Escueta into the back of that Australia tripod.
Team Philippines sending Jambi all the way to the back of the pack. Kismay Escueta through for initial pass.
And
that may be why the jam
wild.
was allowed to run.
Because they were still on initial. Yeah, absolutely.
And we have a Philippines team timeout. So one of our major sponsors this tournament is the S1 Helmet Company. They are the official protective gear of the Roller Derby World Cup. The S1 Lifer helmet offers the best fit and best protection made for roller derby. Get a lifer, be a lifer. S1 Helmets and Pads, protecting roller derby since 2006. Visit s1helmets.com. And speaking of protective gear, as well as a helmet to protect you from concussions, you also require a mouth guard.
And our penalty boxes are sponsored by Sisu Mouthguards. Smash hard, skate harder. Sisu Mouthguards has your back and your teeth. Ultra thin, battle tested, and built for bold athletes who play loud and hit louder. Trusted by derby skaters worldwide. Certainly the only mouthguard I've ever worn where you can still speak to people
Yes.
with your mouthguard in.
I must admit, getting my first one was a bit of a life changer after having, God, one of those really giant old school ones that connects to the helmet strap.
Oh, lovely. Yes, I've had a big kind of mushy rugby style one that just takes up your entire mouth. Very uncomfortable.
So we are now in an official timeout. Our stats are wildly out of date at this point, but at halftime we had Team Australia on 22 penalties, Team Philippines on 26 penalties. On the Australia side, at halftime, there was Lethal on 4, Tui Lion on 3, and Slamazon on 3. On the Philippines side, there was Diamante Hunse on 4, Aluyan on 4, Charger on 4, Gonzalez on 3, and Kili on 3. So a bit of a penalty high game so far.
And we have Pulp Friction and Glam Cracker lining up on the WFTDI Jammer line.
That was a very cute moment there when they were comparing their ponytail ribbons.
And we had Gonzalez on their back in the middle of the pack on the ground there.
Pulp Friction through for lead jammer for Team Australia. Both of these jammers, tiny but mighty powerhouses.
Absolutely.
That is 4 points.
And another
for
star
Pulp
pass
Friction.
for the Philippines.
That is Gonzalez.
Gonzalez out uncompleted initial. Really wants to get some points. Pulp Friction with a huge apex jump there, but unfortunately not able to stick the landing. So just the 4 points there for Australia.
Ooh, we have an official review, so we will be able to, we will bring you the drama when we can. Our in-house team running into the inside to let us know all the gossip.
You can hopefully see the absolutely stunning rainbow skirt there on Bloody Laces, fitting in with our Pride theme and Trans People Belong in Sports.
So we've been talking a lot about WFTDI in reference to our jam line. So let's tell you a little bit more about who they are. Start every jam off knowing you're covered with WFTDI insurance. WFTDI keeping you on track. They have a stand in the vendor area for those of you that are here, but I'm sure they can also be found online for those of you at home. So we have a range. So it looks like we've maybe done a switcheroo in the official reviews. We might have had one that then became another. I do have experience before of Doherty, the Team Australia bench, going, you know what, while we're here.
Let's just take another one, seeing as we've got all these officials gathered. So another one of our sponsors are Double Threat Skates. Established in 2013, they are one of Europe's most trusted roller derby shops. Owned by Kitty from London Roller Derby, every single person working in the shop plays roller derby. They are cool. Visit them at the Vendor Village if you are here in Innsbruck. And it looks like the official review has concluded. So we have Hawaii KO and Booger ready to start this next jam. The pack starting high on the pivot line, so round into the apex already. Both jammers trapped at the back. And we have a full complement of blockers now. And that is lead jammer for Booger, maintaining the 100% lead jammer status for Australia in this half. Philippines only getting 2 leads in the first half. And we have Hawaii KO. I believe that is the first completed initial for the Philippines that didn't involve a star pass. And we have an illegal procedure penalty for Booger.
So this is a power jam to the Philippines.
I saw some skaters pointing to their mouth, so possibly a suggestion there that Booger doesn't have a mouth guard in.
Oh, I know, I've done that one before.
Yeah, once again, not worth the risk. And that is 4 points for Hawaii KO. And Australia currently with only 2 blockers on track.
I believe that is Lethal and Brooke Stubbs.
Philippines working really hard to control the pack at the moment. And we have Booger returning to the track and entered at the front of the engagement zone. I think hadn't noticed that the pack had caught up and was going for that long run up. So that is an illegal re-entry and a cut track
And a
penalty.
double power jam for Team Philippines.
Yep, and we have just a couple of seconds left on this jam, so it will be a power start in the next jam for the Philippines. That's another 4 points. That is 8 points, the highest scoring jam for the Philippines in this half.
Okay. All right, we have an Australia
have
timeout.
Opted for a timeout here, making a plan for this power start.
So the update on that previous official review, Team Philippines were seeking a penalty to be issued to the Team Australia jammer for contact during an apex jump.
Yeah, there was
However,
a massive jump right at the end, and there was very strong contact between the jammer and the Philippines blocker.
However, the contact was deemed to have been initiated by the Philippines blocker while the jammer was in the air.
Okay.
So the no call stands.
Which is legal. You can hit someone who's airborne, but you can't hit while you are airborne. And we're seeing a slight score adjustment from that last jam. Australia with 1 point, not 2. So they are currently on 242. Philippines on 31. We have gone into an official timeout.
So speaking of some of the vendors we have representing here this weekend, we have My Roller Derby, that are the roller derby shop specialist in France and Europe.
And we're just about to get started here with this power start.
That is Kiss My Escueta taking the power jam for Team Philippines.
An incredibly fast pack all the way round to turn 3 already. Philippines lining up for that coordinated offense, and that is the first lead jammer for the Philippines in this second half. Kiss My Escueta now coming round on a scoring pass just as Booger is released from the penalty box.
That was a big hit down on Kiss My Escueta by Tui Lion, but did not have to yield.
Tui Lion tracking back, but some great awareness from Kiss My Escueta, knowing that they did not need to recycle.
Kili Kili headed to the penalty box for Team Philippines. Meanwhile, Booger has completed initial pass for Team Australia. All right, that is 4 points picked up by Booger.
Kiss My Escueta choosing to continue to run this jam.
Coughing another big hit from the Team Australia defense.
And that's another 4 points for Booger.
Kiss My Escueta is done. Calls the jam.
I think that's the second Philippines call off from the floor. The last one directly in front of us, I believe, was Hawaii KO in the first half. Always
Kiss
a
My
nice way to
Escueta
end things.
did cop some giant hit outs about to jam from the Team Australia defense.
Absolutely.
Jam. That was the first jam loss.
On the WFTDI jammer line, we have Sugars lining up for Team Australia up against Smackbeth for Team Philippines.
And Australia with a slight pack advantage, allowing them to spare a blocker for the offense up at the front there. Philippines missing blocker, now back on track. And
Sugars.
that is lead jammer for Sugars.
And Team Philippines losing a blocker to the penalty box, potentially for an out-of-play block. That was a great attempt there by Diamante Hunse to take down Sugars, but Sugars threw for 4 points.
Yeah, just a bit of glancing contact, not enough to slow Sugars down.
Sugars making it look too easy, slipping around for another 4 points.
Smackbeth with star in hand, pushing out that final Australian blocker, and has finally completed that initial trip. Sugars keeping an eye out there and calls the jam. So that is 9 points for Australia. Takes them up to 259, playing 35.
We have about 6 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this game. That is Jambi out for Team Australia on the WFTDI jammer line, and Rice Rocket for Team Philippines. And a lead to Jambi from Team Australia.
Rice Rocket knocked down and out there and has to start all over again at the back of the pack.
Meanwhile, Jambi threw for another 4 points.
Rice Rocket with star in hand.
Or a
looking
first
for
4 points for this
Gonzalez.
jam.
And that is star pass complete, but for possibly the first time, the pivot was not perfectly positioned in front of the wall, so Gonzalez is trapped still on initial.
4 points picked up by Team Australia.
Gonzalez managing to stretch the pack out there, but
That pack
does
is
have
long.
two Australian blockers and knocked to the inside for the recycle.
That is a solid tripod of Australian defense at the front there. Jambi through for 4 more points.
Lovely little spin there on Jambi on the toe stops.
Brooke Stubbs heading to the penalty box for Team Australia.
And Gonzalez has made it out on the initial. Jambi keeping an eye on Gonzalez following this pack, not making any attempt to score any points, but just running it to the last
deciding
second.
to block now.
Why not? Try something new.
Looks like there's maybe some clock running strategy happening now, more so than
Absolutely.
point scoring strategy.
Pivot still in the box, so waiting for, there we go, that exact moment to get the full complement of blockers back on track for Australia. So they will go in to the next jam with a 1 blocker advantage, but we are seeing an official review being called from Australia. So we will bring you the details of that as soon as we have them.
While we wait to hear what that is about, this broadcast is brought to you in part by TSG, the trusted brand in action sports protection. Whether you're jamming, blocking, or just rolling for fun, TSG gear has you covered. Explore helmets and pads designed by riders for riders, or rollers, if you were, at our international website, ridetsg.com. And of course, we are in beautiful Innsbruck, Austria this weekend. Innsbruck Tourism wishes you an unforgettable stay during the Roller Derby World Cup 2025. Visit innsbruck.info to explore what this urban alpine region has to offer. From world-class sports to sightseeing and rich history, Innsbruck has everything your heart desires. And I'll say, I don't know how people, just cope living here, waking up, stepping out the front door and seeing these beautiful mountains.
I will never get used to it. Every time you step outside, there's another mountain in front of you. It's absolutely stunning. And I imagine really incredible here in the winter as well.
With the snow.
The snow and the skiing. But that's hard to imagine in the 30-ish degrees that we've had so far for this tournament. So some very deep discussion going on there between our officials, as you can see.
So a shout out to another one of our vendors, Sucker Punch Skate Shop, the biggest roller derby shop in Europe. Fast shipping, large stock, expert advice at the best price. SuckerPunchSkateShop.com.
Okay, so we will bring you the details of that official review as soon as we can. But in the meantime, we have Invader Scrim and Glam Cracker lining up on the WFTDI jam line. And this jam is underway. Invader Scrim pushing out at the front.
Glam Cracker buried deep into that Australian defensive wall.
And has lost the star, but okay, Glam Cracker is now aware that the star had fallen to the inside and has picked it back up. Invader Scrim through now on a scoring trip, but being held by that strong Philippines wall. And succeeds in managing to break the 3 blockers apart and beat them one at a time for 4 points. Meanwhile, we have had another star pass for the Philippines, this time to Charger, who has now got trapped against the 3 wall from Australia.
And Invader Scrim is out for 4 more points. That is another 4 points picked up for Team Australia. Charger still looking for a way out. That was a great little hop around the inside line there by Invader Scrim to pick up another 4 points. It's turning into a big jam for Invader Scrim.
Invaders Grim. Prior to this game, Australia's second highest scoring jammer of the tournament with 100 points. So really adding to that total now.
But that is a jam called, a 20-point jam in total for Invaders Groom, taking Australia to 291, Philippines on 35. While we have a moment, just an update as to what that official review was about. Australia were seeking I believe a Star Pass related penalty on Team Philippines, as they believed the Team Philippines pivot was on their knees when they received their star and therefore was not upright and in play. But there was not enough eyes on the incident and the no call stands.
Meanwhile, we have Sugars out for lead jammer, and Philippines have passed the star to Champagne, who is out on initial and looking for some points. The crowd thinks that Champagne got some points there. It was right on the whistles. There is some discussion between the jammer referee and the outside pack ref.
That was some great work by Champagne.
Absolutely, really put a sprint on there. What will the jammer ref put up? Oh, we are taking an official time out to discuss with another outside pack ref. So definitely the possibility of points here. Hasn't been a clear yes or no.
Just adding some drama. No.
But that is no points for the Philippines, and you can hear the disappointment in the crowd.
I'm disappointed too.
Okay. Probably the last jam of the game.
We have 1 minute and 2 seconds left on the period clock, so possibly the last jam of the game. We have Pulp Friction up against Smack Beth on the WFTDI jammer line.
And
Glam Cracker has just come back from the box and done a huge bit of offense to the outside, but Australia are wise to it and reform immediately.
Team Philippines defense absolutely crowding Pulp Friction in this moment.
Yeah. But have reached the 20-foot mark at the front of the engagement zone, so forced to let Pulp Friction go for lead jammer. Pulp Friction opting to call the jam, and Australia calling a team timeout immediately. So we will have one more jam in this game.
This is absolutely flown by.
It has. That was another 3 points for Australia, taking them up to 297 with no initial trip completed for the Philippines.
So talking about some more of our fabulous sponsors. Roller Derby House, supporting Derby from the track to your screen. Thank you to Roller Derby House. Visit rollerderbyhouse.com for your next gear upgrade. And Shea Skates are home of premium roller derby and roller skate products. Find them at powerslide.com.
And so for this final jam of the game, we have Kismay Escueta, Philippines number 88, lining up against Jambi, number 32 for Australia.
I would not want this any other way. Both superstar jammers we have seen this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, Jambi surprisingly not in there amongst Australia's highest scoring jammers so far this tournament, but I think that's just down to track time and the
Yes,
depth.
Jambi did not play against Salam Roller Derby.
Yeah, Australia having the benefit of a huge jammer roster.
It is a very deep jammer roster.
And Kismay Escueta took the star off and has made it through on initial, getting a huge cheer compared with Jambi several seconds before getting lead.
But Jambi does an apex jump and calls the jam.
Yep, what a perfect ending there for Jambi. That final 4 points taking Australia over the 300-point mark. That is 301 points to Australia with 35 to the Philippines. We are just waiting on that score to be confirmed.
Australia 19-20 getting lead.
Australia having 19 out of 20 lead jams in that second half there and really capitalising on that. And that is your final whistle. The score is confirmed.
I have been Purple Rain.
I have been I Am Maven.
Coming up next on this track, we have Mexico versus New Zealand, which is set to be another cracker of a game. Honestly, I feel like they all are at this point
They
of the
really
tournament.
are. I wish I could be in 5 places at once. It's another one of our 2 win point games. New Zealand with the surprise win over Spain on day 1. So that should be a really great one to watch.
All right, signing out.